Hello, everybody. How's it going? This is Azren, the language nerd here. I'm the owner of the Calgary Language Nerds, and welcome to today's video. Today's video is an important video. I'm excited to be making this one. I'm going to talk about how to spend your time effectively when learning another language. This is a piggyback video in a way. Excuse me, a piggyback video, an additional video to another video I made earlier about the 250-hour challenge. And so if you haven't seen that, you don't need to go back and watch it because I'll make sure we cover some of the main points here today. And with that aside, let me share my screen. Okay, so we're going to start with this. So I run, as you know, a business called the Calgary Language Nerds. And at my business, I run a lot of free classes. So for instance, in 2017 alone, when I look at all the online and in-person classes that my team and I ran, we taught over 300 free classes that were attended by more than 10,000 people in the year. That's a lot. And my team and I, we've been doing this since 2017. In that time, in 2017, when we started to do these, when initially it was just me actually, but now there's some people that help. The initial plan, the initial goal was to create these classes and teach these classes that are taught well, a high quality of education that people like, they're fun, they're engaging. To create these excellent classes that people can come to, regardless of their level, learn something and move forward toward their desired level of proficiency in another language. And that was the big focus. I thought, yeah, let's make these classes, make them free at least once a week, and that'll really help people to move forward. And we did a good job. It's been great. It's obviously going well. However, there's also a problem that I've noticed. The problem that I've noticed is that there will be people, well, actually, there's a couple of problems. Problem number one, lots of people eventually fall off, meaning they stop coming, they get busy, they prioritize something else, something happens and they stop coming. So that's problem number one. Problem number two is that even the people that would come consistently, or even not even every week, but let's say regularly, maybe they came 3 times a month or something like that out of 4. Their progress was at a snail's pace, meaning if they show up today for the first time and they come pretty regularly, and I look at them 6 months later, their level would be roughly the same. Not that different, sometimes identical, like they hadn't moved forward at all or barely anything. And I thought to myself, this is a problem. And this is also a problem I would see in the paid side of my business. The paid side of my business, meaning where people pay for classes. A lot of people would be taking classes for a year, 6 months, 3 months, whatever it is, they take their classes, but the progress is just not really there. And I think anyone that runs a tutoring business probably can relate to that. Like, oh man, yeah, I hear what you're saying, man. So clearly something has to change. This isn't good. People shouldn't take classes for 4 months and not move forward that much, or fall off the wagon and not take classes anymore because they got busy. Like, we have to fix this. Ultimately, there's 2 things we're trying to fix, right? If I just scroll down in this document, we'll come back to this picture, right? Too many language learners are not dedicating enough time toward learning their target language and are not using effective methods. This is the problem, because look, here's a fun fact. It usually takes adult learners 400 to 800 hours of practice or study to become, let's say, conversational. And when I say conversational, if we use the CEFR scale, I mean a B as in Bob level, B1 level, roughly speaking. It takes about 1,000 to 1,800 hours for a typical adult to reach professional working fluency. So if you're using ineffective methods and you're not dedicating that much time, you are on and off with your studies, things of that nature, think about how long it's going to take you just to have like a B1 level. It's going to take a long time. You know, I showed this slide recently in another video. Let me show it here too. Let me just go back to the slide over here. If we look at this slide right here, I'll make it full screen. Check this out. Please disregard the number of years and months. Let's just cross those out. Disregard these. Check this out. This is how many hours it generally takes to reach each of these levels. I'm not going to spend a lot of time explaining what these levels mean today. I'll just give you a couple of benchmarks. A B1 means that you can navigate most day-to-day scenarios in another language, as long as it's not overly technical, professional, or academic. B2 means that you can not only do the conversational things, but you can also talk about current events, essentially things that are more technical or academic or professional, maybe even really specific and related to your work. It's a bit more advanced. And then the C levels, C1, C2, these are like really, really, really advanced levels. You would rarely struggle in the language anymore. If you don't really know a lot about these levels, please Google C, E, F, R, levels explained. And you'll find lots and lots and lots and lots of websites. Even the official Council of Europe website, which is who made this scale, they'll explain what they mean so you can kind of understand. But a B1 is a nice benchmark to be aware of. Okay. So let's clear these drawings. Again, disregard the hours and the years for now. Like disregard the months and the years. It's not necessarily 6 to 8 months, 1 to 2 years. Those aren't important. Focus on the hours. Okay. That's the key thing. That's the key here. Now, so the time clearly matters. And the fact that people are not putting in the time, I think one of the main reasons that people are not putting in the time is they do not realize, oh, I'm going to need 400 to 800 hours just to become that kind of B1 level. And even more, 1,000 to 1,800 to reach a professional working fluency. Like, oh, if I do 1 hour a week, like it's going to take me 8 years on a minimum and maybe even longer to become conversational. So that's something to be aware of, right? So what I decided to do is I want to obviously help you guys today to help you fix 2 things. One of which is help you dedicate more time, because that will make a difference. In fact, fun fact, but if you condense the studying that you do, you'll generally learn more. Meaning, if you do 50 hours of study in, I don't know, let's say 2 months, 50 hours of study, or you do 50 hours of study in 1 year, you will learn more in the 50 hours in 2 months than you will in the whole year. So to learn more productively, you want to condense your studying, in fact. You want to condense it. Now, you don't want to condense it too much because you can go too far. If you could say, well, Azren, I'm going to study 12 hours a day. Well, no, because there's also such thing as mental fatigue. There's also mental fatigue. So you have to balance it out. But generally, when you condense those hours, you do get more out of those hours than if you do not condense them. Okay. So I want to help you guys with making sure you're dedicating the required time to learn a language. And I want to help you with effective methods. I want to make sure you have both sides of the equation. If you have both and you're a little bit patient, you put them together, you create this nice, delicious meal, and you're going to you will achieve your desired level of proficiency. Now, as many of you know, because I've talked about this in another video, I've kicked off a 250-hour challenge. The challenge is to do 250 hours of active practice or study toward another language in a year. That breaks down to 21 hours a month or 5 hours a week, roughly speaking. Okay. And now here's where we get to the meat and potatoes of the video. Let's say someone's like, yeah, I want to do this challenge. Or heck, maybe you don't even want to do the challenge, but you're thinking, I still want to know, even though I'm not going to do 21 hours a month, I'm going to do more than that or less than that, whatever it is. How do I spend my time? Let's talk about it. Let's scroll back up here. I made this little graphic. If you're assuming you're doing 5 hours a week, that's how I based this challenge that I've made. It's just a nice 5 hours a week, 21 hours a month. It's a good timeline. It's a really nice time because it's manageable for most people that have a full-time job. You'll have to make language learning a priority, but it is definitely manageable for most people. And it's enough hours. It's just enough hours for you to notice real progress, even after a number of weeks, even after like a week or two. Like I'm doing this myself right now. Like after a week, I've noticed some real improvements in my Mandarin because you have a condensed timeline. Every day you're doing the language. Every day you're practicing. And so you feel the progress, you feel the results pretty quickly, which is nice. Whereas if you do less than that, you won't always feel the results quite as quickly. and that becomes demotivating and therefore you quit. Okay, so I say 4 hours a month, 4 or more hours a month of listening, 4 or more hours a month of reading, 2.5 or more hours a month of writing, 2.5 hours a month or more of speaking, 1 hour or more a month of grammar, up to 4 hours a month of other strategies. So not if you're doing 21 hours a month, not more than 4 hours a month, okay, up to, and that could be reviewing your notes, quizzing yourself, flashcards, maybe you like Duolingo or some apps or whatever it is, and maybe it doesn't fall into these other categories. Well, that would go into other. After you do this, you will have practiced or studied for 14 to 18 hours in a month. You will need to dedicate an additional 3 to 7 hours every month to reach that magic number of 21 hours. You can spend those 3 to 7 hours on anything you want on this list. Totally up to you. Okay. But you can kind of pick and choose depending on what you would like to prioritize. Now, here's the thing. I've told you how much time to dedicate. You can now, because you know it takes, because you know, where is it? Because you've got these benchmarks in your head, now you know, okay, I can see how quickly I'd progress. I can sort of measure that out in my head. If you really want to get specific, you use these hour numbers here. 100 to 150, 200 to 500, 400 to 800, 1,000 to 1,800, 2,000 to 4,000, and then varies, right? If you really want to get specific. So you can now measure that out. Wonderful. That's good. You know what activities to spend your time on. Wonderful. That's great. Okay. But we got to go a step further, because it's not just, oh, listen. What do you listen to? How do you listen? Because listening could be, okay, I listen to music. Is that what I do? Not quite. So we got to get more specific. Okay. Now on my website, I'm going to put this link in the video description. It has all the information about the challenge. Okay. If you scroll down to the bottom, there's an FAQ section. This FAQ section is where I answer, how do you practice listening? How do you practice reading, speaking, writing, grammar? So let's talk about it here. Listening. Find material that's challenging to listen to. It should not be too easy, nor should it be overwhelmingly difficult. You may use audio-based materials or videos, but ensure that subtitles or a transcript is available in your target language. So not like English subtitles, you want in the same language. Listen to your selected audio or video multiple times without the subtitles and transcript first, listening closely to what is being said and looking up words and phrases you did not understand. Write these words and phrases down. Do not be surprised if it takes you an hour to consume a few minutes of audio or video. This is normal and it is still time well spent. You might think, why would it take an hour? Let me demonstrate why it would take an hour. Let's say you're watching a video, okay? Let's say it's a Spanish video, and I say, I'm the guy in the video, okay? And I say, I don't know, Canadá tiene nieve hasta para regalar. And I say that. And you're like, whoa, what the heck? You have to pause there. You go, wait, what did he say? Remember, no subtitles. Rewind. Listen again. Play. Canadá tiene nieve hasta para regalar. And you're like, whoa, what the heck does that mean? Pause. Rewind. Say it again. Canadá tiene nieve hasta para regalar. You're, what the heck is he saying? Rewind again. Turn the subtitles on. Read. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, I don't know what that means. Let me look up some of the words I don't recognize. Let me go into an online translator. Let me do this. Let me go research it by looking up the words I don't know. Oh, that's what that means. Oh, write it down. Okay, now let me listen again. Now that I've done that, turn the subtitles off. Rewind. Listen. Ah, I got it. Yes, go me. Okay, next part. Play again. It will take you an hour to consume a few minutes of video or audio. It very well could. Now that leads to this one. Does watching Netflix count as listening practice? Well, it can if you're doing that active listening, where you are listening, you're pausing, you're looking at the subtitles, you're turning them on and off, you're almost like studying in a sense. Sure, that counts. By all means, that counts. But it doesn't count if you're just watching casually. Throw something on Netflix, throw on some English subtitles, off you go. No, right? I could almost throw another question into this. Well, what about listening to music? Can I listen to music? No, doesn't count. Can I throw on a podcast? No, doesn't count. Can I just like listen to the news while I cook? No, doesn't count. Or rather, it counts as passive listening practice, but that doesn't count towards your 4 hour a month quota of active listening practice. You can do the music and podcasts and all that too. Wonderful. That's great. But I want you to do 4 hours a month of active practice. How do you practice reading? Very similar to listening, actually, similar enough process. You find material that is challenging for you to understand. It should not be too easy, nor should it be overwhelmingly difficult. Read slowly and be sure to look up new words and phrases in a dictionary or online translator. Write down these new words and phrases that you learn. Okay. Speaking practice, you have a few options. You can find a language exchange partner using an app such as HelloTalk, or maybe you hire a private tutor through My Business, through italki. If you haven't heard of it, it's like an online tutor bank. It's italki.com. Pretty good resource. I like it a lot. You could hire someone through My Business. That's an option too. You could practice with speaking with someone that you know who already speaks the target language. You could use a website such as meetup.com is another place to look. Meetup is a website that you can meet people that have similar interests as you. So there's like hiking groups, there's tech groups, music groups. There are also lots of language practice groups. So you can practice online or in person with different people. Duolingo events is another one. Here it is, events.duolingo.com. Select a language and classes pop up for that language. Some of them are paid, like $2, $3. Most of them are free. Most are free. Okay, and they're targeted for different levels, all with different hosts. That could be a place to get some conversation speaking practice too. Writing, you have a few options. Low beginners, write short sentences using the words, phrases, and grammar you know. Mid to high beginners, write short paragraphs on various topics using the words, phrases, and grammar you know. Intermediate and advanced, write journal entries and essay-style responses on various topics. Again, obviously using words, phrases, and grammar that you know. No matter your level, it is crucial to regularly receive corrections and feedback on your writing from an advanced or native speaker. You may ask a private tutor or language exchange partner on HelloTalk to review your writing. Another alternative is to ask someone in the italki community. That's one great free way to do so. Lastly, most importantly, do not use online translators. You can only use an online or paper dictionary to look up individual words. Online translators mask your mistakes. And then when you get it corrected, the person won't be able to correct it and help you understand the mistake and learn from it. It also does too much of the thinking for you. You have to use your own brain when you're writing. Writing will feed your speaking. Writing helps you organize your thoughts, especially for this intermediate advanced level, especially. Helps you organize your thoughts and communicate about something with much more sharpness and clarity than you typically could if you didn't write about it. On a side note, reading and listening also feeds your speaking too, as a side note. That's a topic for another video. Grammar, it depends on the language, of course, but there's plenty of websites that have grammar explanations and exercises. You might choose to buy a grammar book, for example. There's so many different resources. This one tends to be the one that people have an easier time finding resources for, with the exception of like endangered languages, perhaps not, or like not very widely learned languages, again, perhaps not. If you ever need help with like grammar resources, feel free to ask me and I can maybe find something for you or point you in the right direction. Yeah. In terms of how much you progress in 250 hours, if you're going to do this 250-hour challenge, because I know a lot of you watching this probably are considering it or are doing it. I would just use these benchmarks. I would use these benchmarks here. So again, ignore the months and the years because that's just a calculation based on 250 hours a year. The hours is the more important thing to look at, right? So look at this, figure out where your level is now. If you don't know how to figure out your level, I do free level assessments. Alternatively, go literally search CEF. Actually, no, sorry. Search CEFR self-assessment. You want the self-assessment grid, table 2. Click on whatever language you want to see it in. They're all the same. Just click whatever language you read the best in. And there's a self-assessment process that you can use to get a rough idea, which is pretty cool. Okay. So then you just you look at this guy. You look at, where is it? Here it is. Okay. You look at this guy here. You figure out roughly where your level is. You can then figure out how many more hours you'll need. How many hours you need. These are all cumulative hours, by the way. It's not additional hours per level, but how many hours you'll need in total to get to whatever level you're trying to get to. Okay, so that's how you'd figure out, how much you'll progress in 250 hours. Okay, I'm going to come back to this final question in a second. If you're going to do the challenge, as you do your study, post progress updates on social media with the hashtag CLN250, Calgary Language Nerds 250, and tag me at Polyglot Azren. I'll be like a little cheerleader for you and cheer you on. There are some additional resources you may choose to use, whether you're using this challenge or not. You may still use these to help you be more productive, spend your time in a way that really helps you move forward. They're the following. The habit tracker. These are nice to use, whether you use mine or whether you make your own. These are nice to have. Okay, you just should have these. Habit tracker, vocab tracker, and then learning resources. Okay, for reading, writing, grammar, speaking, listening. Habit tracker is used to keep a record of how many hours you've dedicated toward your target language. Ensure you track how much time you spend on each practice activity. So speaking, listening, reading, writing, and grammar. If you don't have a way to track your hours in such a way, you could use one that I've made. I'll just show you here what it looks like. I've made this one. It's $3.99 as of right now. Here you go. Each little box represents 30 minutes of practice. You color in a box after doing 30 minutes of practice. It's broken up into speaking, listening, reading, writing, grammar, apps, and other strategies. There's also a monthly version in case this looks less overwhelming. This might look overwhelming with a sheer number of boxes. Here's a monthly version, might look less overwhelming for you. You'll want something to track your vocabulary. Could just be in a notebook, could be on your Word document or whatever. I personally use this. Vocab tracker, it's $1.99 as of right now. Left-hand column, you write in the word or phrase in your target language. Here you write the word or phrase in English or your first language. Then you use these little check boxes to check off how well you know the word. I know this phrase very well. Or sorry, I don't know this word or phrase very well. I need more practice. I know it very well and can use it with ease, or maybe it doesn't translate directly. Lastly, resources. You'll need stuff for speaking, listening, reading, writing, and grammar. Now, oh, there's a typo here. If you, I'm going to change that right after. Because I don't know what language you are learning as you're watching this, there's so many resources that you could possibly use. I'll give you a few that generally work for a wide variety of languages. I'll do that through this presentation here. For a wide variety of languages, here's your options. Feel free to take a screenshot of this. HelloTalk, Duolingo Events, Meetup. LingQ is excellent for reading, listening, and reading. Journal entries and italki community, we talked about that today, the writing practice. Free YouTube courses, not for all languages, but you do have them for many. So if I go to YouTube here, I'll show you. Let's say you're learning Spanish. You can search Spanish A1 grammar. Switch to playlist. And then there's lots of different courses here, like A1 grammar courses, right? So you can use YouTube courses for many languages, not all, but if you really want something, I've made some learning guides. I think I can show you one. I mean, that's okay. I'll show you the website here. I'm making them for more languages. So depending on when this video is out there, they might be available for more languages when you're watching this. Or if you want me to make one for a language you're learning that I don't offer, I can make one for you. I am working on other languages right now, so more should pop up. Right now, those learning guides are Spanish, French, Mandarin, German, Japanese, Russian. Again, if there's one that you want that you don't see here, ask me, and I can make one for you. Or maybe I already am working on one, so I can send you an advanced copy. There's also there's also the packs, so polyglot pack, trilingual pack, bilingual pack. So if you want to get two packs for two, the guides for 2 languages. All of them include detailed steps to progress efficiently, resources and exercises to improve your speaking, listening, reading, writing, and grammatical accuracy. The accountability tracker is included, as well as your vocabulary tracker. So my goal is after reading the guide, you'll never wonder, when will I finally be fluent? And you'll know at all times how far you are away from your desired level of proficiency and exactly what steps to take. And I think that answers that's all language learners want to know, I think. So I'm making these for the languages. They're not that expensive right now. I mean, maybe the price will change in the years to come, who knows? But as you're looking at this right now, as I'm recording this, these are the prices. Okay. So yeah. Let's go over to here we go. Oh no, where is it? Where's my Google Doc here? There we go. So yeah, I mean, that's that. That's how to spend your time effectively. I highly recommend you guys do it through this challenge. It'll be really helpful for you. All links for things we mentioned, I'll put them in the description below. Have a great rest of your day. I hope this is helpful, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye. See you.